Emma wasn't thinking clearly that night. Her baby had been crying on and off for hours, her last can of formula was nearly empty, and her bank account had dipped below $5. She hadn't eaten anything since noon. She sat on the edge of her worn-out couch, rocking Lily gently with one arm and typing with the other. Her thumb hovered over the screen, then hit send. "James, I hate asking again, but I really need $40 for Lily's formula. I get paid Friday, I swear I'll pay you back." She stared at the message. No reply. A sinking feeling crept into her stomach. Maybe her brother was asleep. Maybe he was tired of being her emergency contact every month. She closed her eyes for a second, overwhelmed by shame and exhaustion. But then ping, a message, but not from James. "Hey, I think you have the wrong number, but I read your message. Do you really need help?" Emma froze. Her chest tightened. She hadn't realised how vulnerable she'd just made herself to a total stranger. Her fingers hovered over the screen again. She thought about not replying, about deleting the message and pretending it never happened. But something about the tone, it wasn't mocking, it wasn't creepy, it was gentle, curious. She typed slowly. "Sorry, that was a mistake, please ignore it." She thought that would be the end of it, but within a minute, another message came in. "I'm not trying to be nosy, but if you really need the help, I can send it, no strings attached." Emma's heart started racing. She didn't know this person. They didn't know her. Why would anyone offer money like that? She didn't answer, just locked her phone and held Lily a little tighter. But when her baby stirred and whimpered again, and she saw the empty formula can on the counter, she did something she never thought she would. She opened the chat, typed one word, "Venmo," and within seconds, her phone lit up. $400 received. From unknown, note for Lily, hope this helps. Emma gasped. Her hands trembled. She had asked for 40. He sent 400. She didn't know who he was. She didn't know what to say. She just sat there, crying in the quiet, holding her baby close, and wondering what kind of person sends hope to a stranger at 2:14 in the morning. Emma didn't sleep that night. She sat at the kitchen table with a chipped mug of coffee, watching Lily finally drift off in her bassinet. Her eyes kept flicking back to her phone. The $400 was still there, real. She thought about sending it back. She thought about reporting the account. But mostly, she just kept asking herself, who does that? She opened the app again and clicked the sender's profile. Just a first name, Alex. No photo, no bio, just a man who had sent her more money than her last 2 paychecks combined. She typed a message, then deleted it, then typed again. "That was way too much. I can't accept that." A few seconds later, he responded. "Too late. Already sent. Besides, it's not charity. It's just what I'd hope someone would do if it were their kid." Emma blinked. The words hit harder than she expected. She hadn't expected kindness, especially not from a stranger with no obligation, no agenda. "Thank you," she wrote. "Really, I don't even know what to say." "You don't have to say anything. Just make sure Lily's okay." It wasn't until he mentioned her daughter's name that her stomach turned. She hadn't told him that, had she? She scrolled up, reread her first message. "Need $40 for Lily's formula." Oh, she had said it. She let out a breath she didn't realise she was holding. Still, something about the way he remembered the name felt warm, not transactional, not like she was just a stranger with a sad story. He remembered because he cared, and maybe that's what scared her more than anything. She wasn't used to people caring. Not really, not like that. Most of the time, Emma felt like she was moving through the world with a target on her back, broke, exhausted, invisible. The kind of person people look past in grocery lines, the kind of woman landlords threaten with late fees instead of compassion. But this man, this random man on the other end of a misfired text, he saw her, or at least he tried to. That morning, Emma used a portion of the money to stock up on formula, diapers and groceries. For the first time in months, her fridge had actual food. She even got a small jar of strawberry jam, a luxury. And as she spooned it onto a slice of toast, she caught herself smiling. Not because life was suddenly perfect, not because she wasn't still behind on rent, but because, for once, something went right. And she couldn't shake the feeling that maybe this wasn't just a fluke. Maybe the stranger who helped her wasn't done showing up in her life. 3 days passed, Emma didn't hear from him again. She thought about reaching out just to say thank you again, but something held her back. Pride, maybe, or fear of crossing a line. So instead, she threw herself into her routine. Early mornings, rushing Lily to her neighbours before work. clocking in at the billing office by 8, trying to breathe between calls and spreadsheets and backlogged invoices. The money had helped more than she could explain, but it didn't solve everything. Rent was still looming, the babysitter needed to be paid, and Lily had a paediatrician appointment coming up that she was quietly dreading because her Medicaid application was still pending. But she was managing somehow. Then one night, just after she'd finally rocked Lily to sleep, her phone buzzed. It was him. "Hey Emma, hope it's okay to text. Just wanted to check in. How are things?" Emma stared at the message. She didn't even remember giving him her name. She scrolled up again, and there it was, her Venmo username. It had her full name in it. Right, of course. Still, it felt strange, intimate, in a way that wasn't uncomfortable but wasn't casual either. She typed back slowly. "We're okay. Lily's doing better, and I'm working through it, thanks to you." "You did the hard part," he replied. "I just pushed a button." She smiled. There was a pause, and then another message came in. "This is going to sound random, but would you ever consider doing contract work in accounting? Remote, flexible hours, pays better than billing." Emma blinked. Her first instinct was to laugh. Was this a scam? But something about Alex didn't feel like that. He hadn't asked for anything, not even a thank you. He had just helped, quietly. Still, she replied with caution. "Why do you ask?" "I work with a company that's short-staffed. We're building a new internal audit team. I remembered what you said in your message. The way you worded things. It sounded like someone who knows numbers." Emma hesitated. She had studied accounting, got her associate's degree before Lily was born. She was only a few credits away from finishing her bachelor's when everything fell apart. When her boyfriend left, when the job cut her hours, when the bills started to eat her alive. No one had asked about her skills in over a year. "I mean, I used to work in accounts payable. Before all this, I haven't done anything major in a while." "That's okay. We just talk first. No pressure. I'll send the info. If it's not a fit, no hard feelings." She stared at the screen, her heart pounded. Was this real? Was he serious? She wanted to believe it, but life had trained her to be cautious, to assume good things came with strings attached. Still, something in her chest stirred, a flicker of the woman she used to be, the one who believed she had potential. Maybe this was nothing, maybe it was everything. So she did what she hadn't done in a long time. She said yes. Emma didn't tell anyone. Not her neighbour, not her brother, not even the girl at the daycare who sometimes let Lily stay an extra hour when she was running late. It felt too fragile, like saying it out loud would break the spell. The next morning, she received a calendar invite. No company name, just a link and a time. Her stomach turned. It felt too casual, too vague, but something told her this wasn't some random scam. It was the way he talked, the way he didn't talk too much. She clicked on the link from the back office of her day job during her lunch break. A video screen popped up, and there he was. Clean-shaven, button-up shirt, a bookshelf behind him filled with business books and a couple of framed pictures. He smiled gently. "Emma?" She nodded. "Hi, you're Alex?" "I am, and I'm really glad you showed up. I know this is a bit unconventional." She folded her arms, unsure. "Honestly, I'm still not sure what this is." He didn't flinch, just nodded like he understood. "You're smart to be cautious. Let me explain." He leaned forward a little. "I'm part of a company called North Point Group. We've had some issues lately with our accounting systems, old processes, poor oversight. I've been trying to build a temporary audit team to clean things up before we bring in a permanent one." "And you want me for that?" Emma asked, her tone edging toward disbelief. Alex smiled. "Yeah, I do." Emma glanced away, her voice soft. "I haven't worked in that kind of environment in a long time. I don't even know if I'm still good at it." Alex's voice was calm. "You're probably better than half the people we've interviewed. And frankly, I trust people who know what it's like to work hard for something that matters." Emma looked at him again, her guard softening but not dropping. "Why me, really?" He hesitated, just a second, then said, "Because I've seen your name before." That caught her off guard. "In what way?" He leaned back. "I didn't know it until I saw your Venmo. But your brother, James? He's in our HR department. I've worked with him for years, great guy. Last Christmas, he mentioned he had a sister who used to be brilliant with numbers, said it was a shame life got in the way." Emma blinked. That memory came back vaguely. James had told her he was working in HR at some investment firm. She'd barely been able to listen at the time. Lily had a fever and rent was late. So this wasn't random. This wasn't luck. This was something or someone remembering her when she thought she'd been forgotten. Alex continued. "We'd start with a short-term contract, remote, part-time. If it works, we talk longer term. I'll send over the paperwork. And before you say no, it comes with childcare support. We have an on-site daycare, and I can make a slot happen if you ever want to work from the office." Emma's throat tightened. No one had ever offered her something like that. Most jobs acted like her daughter was a burden. Like being a mother made her unreliable, less valuable. But this felt different. She nodded slowly. "Okay, send it over. I'll take a look." Alex smiled again, softer this time. "Take your time. And Emma?" She looked up. "I didn't help you because I felt sorry for you. I did it because I believed in you. Still do." She didn't know what to say to that, so she just whispered, "Thank you," and logged off, hands trembling, heart full, and a hope she hadn't felt in years beginning to stir. Emma spent the entire weekend going over the paperwork. It was real. A short-term consulting contract, modest pay, but better than what she was making, and the hours were flexible enough for her to work at night after Lily went down. Still, it took her a full day to convince herself to sign. On Monday evening, she logged into the new system Alex's team had set up. It wasn't fancy. Just shared spreadsheets, some internal reports, and a few flagged entries labelled "Audit Start Here." The first few days were slow. She took careful notes, colour-coded everything, and made sure she didn't mess anything up. She didn't want to give them any reason to regret taking a chance on her. Then on Thursday night, around midnight, Emma noticed something odd. It was just a small invoice, $2,200, approved 3 times over, paid out to a consulting firm she didn't recognise. But the approval flow was weird, the names didn't match, and the same vendor showed up again, 3 times that month. She didn't want to overstep, so she emailed Alex a quick note. "Might be nothing, but I noticed some strange vendor charges, just flagging it in case." He replied in less than 10 minutes. "Thanks, let's hop on a quick call." Emma sat up straighter, her heart thumped. She clicked the video link. Alex looked serious, more focused than usual. "Emma, how long did it take you to find that?" She blinked. "I don't know, maybe a few hours of going through the files?" He nodded, then smiled, just a little. "You just found something my in-house team missed for 6 months. Emma froze. "Wait, what?" He leaned forward, voice lower now. "That vendor, we've been watching it, quietly. We suspect someone's siphoning funds using shell companies. You just confirmed a pattern I couldn't prove." Emma's mind spun. She wasn't even sure what to say. "I wasn't trying to... I didn't know I'd be doing anything that serious." Alex nodded. "And yet you did, because you see the numbers differently, like you listen to them." Emma laughed nervously. "I think it's just the insomnia makes me extra obsessive." He chuckled too, but then turned serious again. "Listen, I need to tell you something. The reason I wanted someone from the outside, someone like you, is because I think there's a leak. Internal, someone on the finance team, maybe even higher." Emma's stomach turned. "So, what happens now?" "You keep doing exactly what you're doing," he said. "You don't tell anyone else. You send me what you find, and I keep you out of anything messy." She stared at the screen. "Alex, I have a baby. I can't be dragged into something dangerous." His voice softened. "You won't be. I promise. I'm not asking you to investigate. I'm asking you to see, like you already did." Emma nodded slowly. Part of her wanted to run, but another part, the one she hadn't felt in years, felt alive, capable. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was doing something that mattered. And maybe, just maybe, this job wasn't an accident. Maybe it was what she was always meant to find, hidden in a mistake that wasn't really a mistake at all. The next week, Emma barely slept. Not because Lily was fussy, she wasn't. In fact, the baby had started sleeping through most nights now, curled peacefully in her crib with her thumb tucked under her chin. No, it was Emma who couldn't quiet her mind. Every spreadsheet she opened made her second-guess herself. Every email from the internal finance team made her skin prickle. She wasn't used to being this close to something real, something that felt like it mattered. Alex had sent her a few follow-up files, old invoices, vendor lists. He kept his tone professional but warm. Never pressuring, always letting her set the pace. But she could tell he was depending on her. Late one evening, while Lily napped in the stroller beside her, Emma sat in the corner of a quiet coffee shop and pulled up another report. Something in the data didn't sit right. Payments that didn't match project timelines, hours billed under empty job codes. She dug deeper, followed the trail, and there it was again. That same vendor name, tied now to another department, a signature she didn't recognise, and a new name on the approval, V. Harmon. Emma's stomach dropped. She recognized the name from company emails. Vincent Harmon, Chief Financial Officer. She stared at the screen for a long time, hands cold, heart racing. This wasn't some middle manager padding hours. This was someone at the top. She texted Alex. I found another link. It goes higher, sending you screenshots. His response came faster than usual. Do not talk to anyone about this. Are you safe right now? Emma's fingers paused over the keyboard. Her eyes darted toward the cafe window. Safe? She hadn't even considered that. She was just following numbers. I'm fine, just at the cafe. Lily's asleep. I'll head home soon. Good. We'll talk in the morning. Emma, thank you. You have no idea how important this is. She locked her phone and leaned back, her breath shaky. How did she go from asking for $40 to buy formula, to helping expose possible fraud at a corporation she'd never even heard of a month ago? She didn't know if she was proud or terrified, maybe both. As she packed up to leave, she noticed something strange. A black sedan parked across the street. Lights off, engine running. Her eyes lingered on it for a second. Maybe she was imagining things. But as she buckled Lily into her car seat, she couldn't shake the chill crawling up her spine. She got in, locked the doors, and drove home without music. Just the sound of her heart thudding, loud and steady. This wasn't just about numbers anymore. This was real, and someone might be watching. Emma didn't mention the black car to anyone. Maybe it was just a coincidence. A neighbour's friend. A delivery driver waiting for the right address. She told herself all of that, again and again. But the next night, there it was again, parked down the block, different angle, same car. She pulled the curtains closed and double-checked the locks. Lily was already asleep, a soft snore coming from the baby monitor. Emma sat on the edge of the couch, phone in hand, trying to convince herself not to panic. She texted Alex, "That car was back tonight. I might just be overthinking." His reply came almost instantly. "You're not. I'm sending someone. Don't open the door unless you hear from me first." That made her chest tighten. If he was worried, maybe she should be too. 15 minutes later, a soft knock came. She jumped, her breath caught in her throat. Then her phone buzzed. "It's Sam. He works with me. Let him in." Emma tiptoed to the door and peeked through the peephole. A man in a grey windbreaker stood outside, not much older than her, holding up an ID badge. She hesitated, then cracked the door. "You're Emma?" he asked gently. She nodded. "I'm here to take you somewhere safe. Just for the night. Alex said not to scare you, but he didn't want to take chances." "Is it really that serious?" she whispered. Sam hesitated. "We think so. Your name's probably not on anyone's radar yet, but if you keep finding what you're finding, it might be soon." Emma glanced back at Lily's monitor. "I have a baby. We've got a safe place for both of you. Just grab what you need." She didn't have time to think. Her hands moved on their own, diapers, formula, extra onesies, her laptop, charger, and the folder where she kept copies of her bills and Lily's birth certificate. Minutes later, they were in the back of an unmarked SUV, Lily still asleep in her car seat. Sam didn't talk much, just drove steadily through the quiet streets until they pulled up to a gated complex. The apartment was simple, clean, fully stocked. Sam handed her a new phone. "This is encrypted. Use it for anything work-related. If you see anything suspicious, call Alex directly. Don't use your old number for now." Emma stared at the phone. It felt like something out of a movie, but this was her life now. "How long do I stay here?" "As long as you need, until Alex says otherwise." Emma sank into the couch after he left, the silence almost too loud. She glanced at Lily, who was curled up peacefully in a portable crib. None of this made sense. She was just trying to make ends meet. Now she was in hiding? Her phone buzzed again. "Alex, you okay?" Emma, "I think so, just overwhelmed." Alex, "You're doing more than most people would ever dare, and you're not alone in this." Emma stared at that last sentence for a long time. She had felt alone for so long, she'd forgotten what it was like to have someone in her corner. Not out of obligation, not because they had to, but because they chose to. And somehow that made the fear just a little easier to carry. Emma woke up to the sound of her daughter cooing softly in the next room. For a brief moment, it felt like any other morning, sunlight creeping through the blinds, the smell of coffee from the apartment next door. Then she sat up and remembered. She wasn't home, she was in a safe house. Because someone in a tailored suit had stolen millions, and she, a tired single mum with a laptop, had found the cracks. She got Lily up, fed her, then sat at the kitchen table and opened her encrypted phone. A new file was waiting, labelled simply, Board Payments, Q3. As she skimmed through, her stomach tightened. The numbers didn't just confirm the fraud, they screamed it. Hundreds of thousands rerouted to fake vendors. Multiple approvals under Vincent Harmon's name, and worse, co-signers from board members who had either retired or conveniently vanished over the past 6 months. Emma's heart sank. It wasn't just Vincent. This went deeper, wider. This wasn't some mistake in accounting. This was deliberate and sophisticated. Her phone buzzed. Alex. You up? Emma. Yeah, just read the Q3 file. I think you're in more danger than I am. Alex. Which is why we need to end this soon. I have a board meeting in 48 hours. The FBI is ready, but we need everything locked in. Emma. You want me there? A pause, then. Alex, only if you're willing. Emma stared at the screen. She looked over at Lily, who was giggling now, clapping at nothing in particular. Her baby, her whole world. She had never been in a room like that before. Never worn a blazer that cost more than a day's pay. Never been face to face with men who played with millions like spare change. But she had something they didn't. She saw the truth when no one else bothered to look. Emma, send me everything, I'll be ready. 2 hours later, a courier arrived with printed files, a temporary badge, and a tailored navy blue blazer, simple, clean, and Emma's size. She almost cried when she saw it. It wasn't fancy, but it was the first time in years someone had dressed her like she belonged in the room. That night, after Lily was asleep, Emma sat at the table in silence. Highlighters, sticky notes, pages of numbers spread out before her like a puzzle only she knew how to solve. She didn't feel scared anymore, she felt clear. She hadn't stumbled into this, she hadn't gotten lucky, she had earned her place at that table. And if they thought she would sit quietly while they tried to bury the truth, they were about to learn who they were really up against. The room smelled like cold coffee and expensive cologne. Emma stood near the back, blazer buttoned, hair tied up the neatest she could manage. Her palms were sweaty, but her spine stayed straight. Across the long glass table sat 8 men and 2 women in suits, flipping through packets they hadn't really read. Vincent Harmon was at the head, calm, polished, talking as if he still owned the room. Alex sat 2 chairs down from him, his expression unreadable. Emma hadn't been introduced yet. She was just a guest consultant. No one even asked her name when she walked in. And that was fine. She didn't need them to look at her, not yet. Vincent clicked a remote. Charts appeared on the screen behind him. As you can see, Q3 expenditures are consistent with projections. Any deviations are within standard margins. Emma's jaw clenched. Standard margins, harass. Alex cleared his throat. Before we move on, I'd like to review a few recent vendor contracts. We've brought in a third-party auditor for a fresh perspective. Vincent didn't flinch. Really? This is a board meeting, not a training seminar. She's not here to learn, Alex said. She's here to show you something. Emma's cue. She stepped forward, hands shaking, yes, but her voice stayed steady. My name is Emma Baker. I've spent the past 2 weeks reviewing internal transactions from the last 2 quarters. What I found was consistent across multiple departments. Same vendor IDs, same irregular approvals, same final signatures. Vincent leaned back, folding his arms. And you're, what exactly? A freelance accountant from Craigslist? There it was, the smirk, the dismissal, the tone that made her want to crawl back into herself. But she didn't. I'm someone who knows how to read a balance sheet, she said calmly. And I have a daughter to feed, so I look a little closer than most. That shut the room up. Emma handed out the folders. Pages 10 through 15. These vendors don't exist. The addresses are PO boxes. The accounts trace back to 2 shell companies, both linked to the same holding entity. One that just happens to share a routing number with a personal investment firm registered under your name, Mr. Harmon. Someone at the table coughed, another reached for their phone. Vincent's face didn't change, he just laughed quietly. This is ridiculous. Emma tilted her head. Then I'm sure you won't mind if the FBI agent outside comes in and hears your explanation? The door opened. 2 plainclothes agents stepped in, badges visible. Vincent stood up. You brought the feds to a board meeting? Alex finally spoke, calm but firm. No, you did. When you decided to steal from this company and assume no one would notice, when you made people like Emma invisible. Vincent's eyes darted around the room. No one stood for him. As they cuffed him, he locked eyes with Emma. You have no idea what you just did. Emma didn't blink. Actually, I do. The room stayed silent long after he was gone. Alex turned to her. That was brave. She looked at him, exhausted but steady. No, that was necessary. And for the first time in years, Emma didn't feel like she was just surviving. She felt powerful. Not because she was loud, but because she refused to stay quiet when it mattered most. 6 months later, Emma sat at her desk, fingers dancing across her keyboard, one ear tuned to the baby monitor on the shelf behind her. Lily was at daycare now, real daycare, at the company campus, just a few floors below. She had her own cubby with a name tag and a little ladybug backpack. Emma never thought she'd cry over a backpack, but she had, quietly, in the car, after drop-off on her first official day as head of internal audit. Not interim, not contract, permanent, with benefits and her name on the office door. She still wore second-hand shoes and packed PB&Js for lunch, but now it wasn't out of desperation, it was habit and peace. She didn't flinch at the checkout line anymore. Alex hadn't changed either. Still wore the same rolled-up sleeves, still sent her links to nerdy articles about forensic accounting, but something between them had shifted, gently, slowly. He never pushed, never crossed lines. Instead, he started showing up with coffee, sending jokes in the middle of long work days, asking about Lily's favourite songs, and listening, really listening, when Emma talked about things she hadn't said out loud in years, like how she once wanted to start her own small firm, or how her mother used to tell her that quiet people see more, or how scared she'd been of becoming invisible after Lily was born. One Friday evening, after a late strategy meeting, he walked her to the elevator. He didn't say anything grand, just looked at her for a long moment and said, "I'm really glad you texted me by mistake." She smiled. "I'm really glad you answered." That was it. No kiss, no fairy tale ending, just two people figuring it out, one honest moment at a time. Later that night, while Lily was asleep and the apartment was quiet, Emma sat on the couch with a cup of tea and looked around. It wasn't a big place. The carpet still had that one weird stain by the radiator, but it was theirs, and it was safe. She pulled out her phone and scrolled to the very top of her messages. "James, I hate asking again." She stared at that message for a while, then hit edit, typed something new. "To whoever this reaches, thank you. You didn't just feed my daughter, you reminded me I still had worth." She didn't send it, she just saved it. Because some moments don't need to be shared to be real. Some victories are quiet, but they change everything. And sometimes, a wrong number is the beginning of the right life. I know this story started with a simple wrong text, but to me it was never really about that. It's about how sometimes the smallest moments can open a door we didn't even know was there. Emma didn't just find a job, she found herself again. And maybe in some way, we all need that reminder that we're still worth something, even on the hardest days. Thanks for watching. If this story touched you even just a little, you're not alone. Thank you so much for being here and for listening all the way through. If this story meant something to you, please give it a like, leave a comment, or share your thoughts below. I read everyone. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next story. There's always more to feel, more to heal, and more to discover right here on Rain Inside. See you in the next one.